Welcome to the 5th episode of the Glen Moe Walking Tour of Broadway. For those of you that might recall our last episode, I was wearing a summer dress, white, and between episode 4 and 5, Glenn and I got married. You also might recall in episode 4, we started with a short tour of Central Park. We looked at the memorial for the Strausses. We reflected on the existence of the automat. We saw the Belnord apartment building, a historic site, and we ended at Zabar's. So, what I'd like to start with today is an amazing building similar to the Belnord, right over my shoulder, called the Apthorp. The Apthorp was built between 1906 and 1908. It was named after Charles Apthorp, who owned a farm of 300 acres in this area. It surrounds an amazing courtyard.
Absolutely, no.
It is a full city block from 78th to 79th Street. Each of these floors, when the building was built, only housed 10 apartments. So you can imagine the size. We are now at the Ansonia. It's located between 73rd and 74th Street. The heir to the Phelps Dodge copper fortune built this to honor his grandfather. William Earl wanted this hotel to be extremely unique. He built a full farm on its roof. He housed his own cattle next to his apartment up on the roof and had a full cattle elevator. Fresh eggs were delivered to the residents every single day. On September 21st, 1921, members of the White Sox met in the hotel room of the first basement at the Ansonia Hotel. They agreed to throw the World Series for about $10,000 per player. This building housed Plato's Retreat, one of the most infamous sex swing clubs in New York City.
Plato's Retreat, located in the Ansonia Hotel, is a unique club open to free-thinking adult couples.
In the basement was a Turkish bath, a gay bath. Bette Midler performed here early in her career. With Barry Manilow as her accompaniment. Diagonal to the Ansonia is the Beacon Theater. The Beacon Theater was built in 1929. It has just less than 2,900 seats and was opened as a movie theater as well as a venue for vaudeville.
Look how beautiful it is.
And most recently, Glenn and I saw Bob Dylan here. The internal theater is absolutely stunning. This is a great corner. The Ansonia Residential Hotel, the Beacon Theater, and now the Central Savings Bank, which currently is owned by Apple. This building was built between 1926 and 1928 as in a Palazzo style, Italian Renaissance style. The bank was originally named the German Bank, but due to anti-German sentiments, it changed its name to the Central Savings Bank. Many times there are these odd little triangles that are created as Broadway moves south. Here we are at the intersection of Broadway and Amsterdam, between 73rd and 72nd Street. It creates this little teeny triangle, and that triangle is called Verde Square. Verdi is an amazing composer. Verde Square, between the 1960s, 1970s, was very much used by drug users and drug dealers, and was named Needle Park.
It is here in the neighborhood of Needle Park that drug addicts live and steal and hustle and somehow manage to exist from one day to the next.
When the new head house was built for the 72nd Street IRT subway, this pedestrian walkway increased the amount of people and also heavily decreased the amount of illegal criminal activity. So what I'd like to do now is let's walk back to the original head house. There are only 3 left on the 7th Avenue IRT, but let's go look at the old one. This neighborhood is Lincoln Square, built on a neighborhood called San Juan Hill. In the early 20th century, San Juan Hill was one of the most densely populated African American communities in all of New York City. There were many clashes between the Irish of Hell's Kitchen and the residents of San Juan Hill. And this was the theme upon which West Side Story was built. The opening scenes of West Side Story were actually filmed before the demolition of this neighborhood. In the 1950s and the 1960s, Robert Moses led a sweeping urban renewal program in New York. The neighborhood of Lincoln Square was identified to be demolished. Lincoln Center was the outcome. With a tremendous amount of private funds, this area led us to the development of the Opera House behind me, the ballet, and the Philharmonic. Among my most favorite locations in this spot is the fountain. And for those of you who literally love the movie Moonstruck, you'll always remember that scene where Nicolas Cage comes and looks for Cher over by this beautiful fountain, and then they meet and they go to the opera.
Hi.
Hi. We're going to end today's visit in Columbus Circle. Columbus Circle is the intersection of 8th Avenue, Broadway, Central Park West, Central Park South, and 59th Street. It is also the point within New York City by which the distance for all highways into New York City are officially measured. The center of Columbus Circle is the amazing statue of Christopher Columbus. A few years ago, a scaffolding was built around the statue, and individuals were allowed into the scaffolding in order to be able to experience the statue within a living area, a living room. Today we're going to end our visit here at Columbus Circle as we take the one back down, and we'll be back soon for our next episode. Bye-bye.